all the
Logged?
lumber. Yeah, they heavily logged it. That's what that was. It's saying that it was the depression is what saved it.
Oh, cool.
Something did come out good out of the depression.
Yeah. The Mingo NWR.
This is a pretty cool little
Yeah.
visitor center.
Yeah, it is.
All up for the kids. Big kids too. Snake skin.
No.
Have you ever felt a snake skin?
Yes. No.
I took one into class one time. The reactions of the kids were funny.
I got a little bitty one like that. I don't think that's strawberry.
No, I think they reused the cupcake.
That looks like a wasp.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was probably a strawberry cupcake
Yeah.
before that.
Unwanted autumn olive.
Was it poisonous?
Like problem originally brought to North America from East Asia.
It's not, what's that word?
They're not
Natural to the area.
feral hogs.
Yeah, we were talking at work the other day about the feral hogs. What was it? Jill didn't realize how bad they are in Texas.
They're pretty bad here too.
It's a pretty good map.
Yeah.
What makes the Mingo Wilderness different from the rest of the refuge? The wilderness areas are places where people can explore without encountering motors, mechanical equipment, or other signs of people. That's pretty cool. This would be a photographer's dream.
It would be. And I'd say we'll probably get some pretty good pictures out of here.
I hope so. I'm trying to get better at it.
It definitely was worth the drive down here so far.
Yeah. It was established in 76 to protect the 7,730 acres of bottomland, hardwood forest, and cypress swamp.
Well, I thought I saw somewhere where it said there was 21,000.
Yeah, but that was in 76, so they've added to it. Animal tracks.
I wonder if these are real.
Okay.
That's duck.
That's deer. Right?
Oh, no, it's duck. This is deer.
Oh, okay. So that's egret.
And then,
So that's wood duck.
and these are probably coon.
Those are raccoon. Kind of look like fingers, like people's fingers.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Now,
Maybe we'll see some tracks.
can you tell me if that's a doe or a buck?
You told me once how to tell a difference, and I can't remember.
These are doe because their hooves are together. A buck spreads apart, and they have two things behind them.
Like spurs or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, shit. I guess I'll be cutting that out.
This season, we need to be looking out for mallards. Ooh, I'd love to see an owl. A barred owl and wild turkeys. I guess people have seen these in the last couple days.
Any eagles?
Vulture.
Oh, I see them all the time.
Ooh, the red hawks. I love those red hawks. The Papa Redbird.
I want to see.
I see the woodpeckers.
I want to see these.
I want to see the hawk, yeah. I want to see the owl. And the mallards would be.
I don't care about seeing them. I see them all the time.
Actually, I would like to see all of it.
Yeah, I hope we can run into an eagle.
That would be cool.
Look out here, babe. The view from here.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. That's just them looking outside. Oh, over there. You might want to go out that way and see what's
Yeah.
out that way. Look, I put the trees and stuff. That's pretty cool.
The bobcat up there.
Oh, I can imagine little ones in here having a blast. Imagine bringing little ones in here.
Oh yeah. Maybe one of these days we can bring Denver down here.
For our food.
Yeah.
They did a good job.
Yeah.
Look up there.
It's a
Look up there.
bobcat.
Owl. Oh, there's your eagle way up there. I can see his
Oh
blood.
yeah.
But if you walk around up front, you can see up front.
It's my favorite bird. That and the cardinal.
Where's that from?
An eagle?
No, that's a tree.
Oh. I've got to get on video that snake skin.
There's one down here. I like how they have the animals all hidden, not hidden, but in places, different places.
What's the hawk sound like?
They're not working. They don't make noise.
That's a weird sound. The American bittern? That's the prothonotary warbler. That's the great blue heron. There it is. There's a red-shouldered hawk.
Yeah. What kind of hops did we have in Arizona? So we had hops everywhere.
There's no telling. Probably red-tailed hawks. Probably different varieties. I will say this is a pretty good place to visit, people. The Mingo National Forest Refuge, Wildlife Refuge.
There's deer right there.
Yeah. Two white-tailed bucks fighting. Pretty interesting how they did this display. You want to watch the video?
If you want to.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet sunrise and sunset's beautiful.
Welcome to Mingo National Wildlife Refuge, one of more than 540 refuges across the United States that are managed and protected by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. This refuge, your refuge, was formed biologically and naturally some 18,000 years ago, following a major earthquake which shifted the Mississippi River to its current geographic location. The refuge you see today was officially set aside by Congress in 1945. It is a refuge with 21,592 acres, consisting of hardwood forest, cypress and tupelo swamp, and fluctuating wetland habitat. The refuge is also known for its spectacular wilderness area, abundance of wildlife, and its rich and storied history. Walking or canoeing through the dark and often treacherous swamp of Mingo National Wildlife Refuge, visitors today soon appreciate how the swamp came to be called Mingo. In the Native American Algonquin language, the name Mingo means stealthy or treacherous. It is likely that the first Native Americans were hunters and gatherers who viewed the swamp in much the same way as visitors do today, with feelings of awe and perhaps even fear.
I definitely say fear of the
For
snakes.
visitors today, and even the early Native Americans, the swamp conveys a sense of being in a mysterious place where huge trees crowd out the sun and unfamiliar noises echo through the night. Before early settlers arrived in the area, the Native Americans soon discovered the resources
Oh, wow,
and
that's so
productivity
pretty.
of the swamp.
Hope we can see some of those
Living
today.
in rock shelters on the edge of the swamp, or in the slightly higher areas of the lowlands, the Native Americans utilized the swamp not only as a place to find food, but as a valuable source of clothing, building materials, and tools. These abundant resources attracted Native Americans to the Mingo Swamp for thousands of years leading up to the historic period. In the early 1800s, the first arriving settlers in the area also stood in awe of the swamp. Few ventured into its interior at night, and tales were told of men who entered into Mingo Swamp never to be seen again. During the Civil War, Colonel Jeff Thompson of the Confederate Army relied on this distrust of the swamp to good advantage. Federal troops and Union sympathizers avoided the lowlands, and on several occasions, Thompson used the seemingly impenetrable swamp as a safe avenue of travel. Once, he led 1,500 men through Mingo Swamp at night through a blinding rainstorm, a feat that earned him the nickname the Swamp Fox. After the Civil War, land-seeking settlers continued to move into the Mingo area. Many of the settlers lost their fear of the swamp and began the practice of earning a living from the swampland. They recognized that the trees of the swamp could produce millions of board feet of lumber and thousands of railroad ties. The swamp soil, which produced huge trees, along with the diversity of plants, could also grow corn and wheat if the soil could be drained.
He was the first mayor of Kansas.
From 1880 to the 1920s, dippers,
Had his
huge
uniform
steam
and
shovels on
everything.
barges, chewed their way through fertile soil, making drainage ditches. Meanwhile, lumber mills sprang up throughout the swamp and helped with the clearing of the timber. The sound of crosscut saws filled the air as men with teams of mules set out to level the swamp forest. Between 1900 and 1910, the lumber industry in the Mingo area reached its peak.
It's 15 minutes long.
Yeah, but you don't need to show.
Efforts to turn the swamp into farmland,
But
however,
it's good
were less
information to go
successful.
back to.
Only in
But the
dry
crop
years
is
could a
already
good
good.
crop be made.
So you can pick it out.
As the drainage ditches fell into disrepair during the Depression era, farming became even more
If I'd
difficult.
been thinking about it, I could have stopped it. And
By
then
1935,
filmed it.
the echo of the crosscut had almost died in the stillness.
Stop the film.
Most of the large
And
timber
then
operations had ceased.
this on there.
The giant trees were
And then
gone.
put it on this.
I don't really want this.
Many timber companies had moved elsewhere to look for marketable timber. The Depression-era swamp became a place where the remaining timber could be cut by anyone without regard to ownership. The cleared acres of swampland were then burned to maintain grassy conditions for livestock. Cattle and hogs ran at large throughout the entire swamp, as the area remained open range. Indiscriminate shooting of waterfowl was common, Other wildlife species were also not faring so well.
No wonder they
Beaver
would
and
kill-
deer had
no wonder they would
disappeared,
kill all
and the wild
deer.
turkeys were nearly extirpated from the swamp. Lumbering, drainage, grazing, fires, and poor hunting and farming practices had taken its toll on the one-time swamp haven for wildlife. What was once a landscape of 2.5 million acres of bottomland hardwood forest was now little more than a few thousand acres of worn-out farmland, with only a few parcels of homesteads remaining. In 1945, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service purchased 21,676 acres of the Mingo Swamp and established the Mingo National Wildlife Refuge. Wildlife managers and refuge supporters soon realized the importance of the Mingo National Wildlife Refuge. If only the productivity of the swamp could be restored, Mingo Swamp would once again offer an abundance of natural food and again be an important resting stop for the migrating waterfowl of the Mississippi Flyway. Since that dismal beginning of the refuge, time and the healing hand of nature, combined with human ingenuity and persistence, have worked to make the area once more a haven for wildlife, and again a place where visitors can stand in awe of the mysteries of the swamp. Through careful management, native trees have resprouted, and large cypress trees are again part of the landscape. Managed ditches and water control structures assure continued management of the hydrology, improved fish populations, and greater wildlife diversity. In the western part of the refuge, the nearly 8,000-acre wilderness area remains relatively free of human influence. A canoe trip on the Mingo River in the heart of the Mingo Wilderness now affords a return to the land as it once was, a land healed over from past abuses with a growing abundance of deer, wild turkey, bobcat, water snakes, bowfin, otter, and beaver. The 21,592-acre refuge is now able to accomplish its primary objective, providing food and shelter for nesting wood ducks and other migratory waterfowl. The natural hydrologic function of the swamp is today mimicked. Maintenance staff clean sediment-laden ditches and replace dysfunctional water control structures in order to enhance water movement throughout the swamp. The 37 miles of ditches that once drained the swamp and promoted the removal of large tracts of timber now serve as arteries for the refuge.
Cool.
These ditches are the key to keeping the forest healthy and the fishery resources bountiful, like in the past. Refuge employees keep a close watch on the complexity of water levels to ensure essential habitat for migrating waterfowl. Their first priority is the survival of the swamp habitat and its diverse communities of wildlife. Biologists monitor the wildlife populations, collect and record data, and work daily in the field to stay attuned to the biological community and its ever-changing needs. This information is then shared with the scientific community at large and to the public through interpretive and environmental education programs. The task of the refuge rangers is to instill the values of protecting our natural resources to future generations. Other employees, cadres of volunteers, and the Mingo Swamp Friends are always there to help. In the mire of the mud, putting up nesting boxes, planting crops, and assisting the public. Working together with nature, these collective efforts have begun the healing process of the swamp. As you spend time on the refuge, stop and think about the storied past of Mingo Swamp. Consider how the rest of southeast Missouri has had a different ending written in its history book.
Those black-headed ones need to be shot.
Once, all of southeast Missouri was like Mingo, some 2.5 million acres. Today, the Mingo and Duck Creek area, about 30,000 acres, is the only large, naturally functioning swampland that remains in Missouri. The rest of southeast Missouri offers an impacted environment with the lingering imprint of humankind. Gone are the sounds of nature in many areas. The sound of the wild turkey, snorting deer, and a healthy diversity of migrating waterfowl. as you enjoy the many activities Mingo has to offer. Recapture the feeling of the swamp that the first Native Americans might have had. Get out into the swamp. Lose yourself in the wilderness. Explore the refuge firsthand. This is your refuge. Let your imagination run free. Quietly walking the Boardwalk Nature Trail, watching waterfowl land among the flooded impoundments, or canoeing on the many miles of refuge waterways are perhaps a few of the best ways to recapture this feeling.
That's a no.
The auto tour route and Highway 51 overlook in the spring and fall can also be a good way to see wildlife and catch a glimpse of a healthy, renewed swampland as it once functioned throughout southeast Missouri.
I think it'd be prettier than.
As you enjoy these activities, or others, such as fishing, or hunting, photography, or guided tours, pause a while and think about the dramatic changes that have come to Mingo Swamp. From ancient riverbed, to deep swamp and Native American hunting ground, to farmland, and once again back to deep swamp. The story of Mingo is the story of a unique natural resource that is being preserved for you and future generations to enjoy.